Hailing back in from the days of Medarot 3, it is the original ladybug type jumping into the fray with her original kit, ready to stand toe-to-toe in the world of modern Robattle. It is LDB00 Honeyforce. With a kit of Mirror Guard, Slip, Charge Drain, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of All-Rounder, which buffs mobility and evade if all equipped parts are different skill types. Now, Honeyforce is a rather unique choice to be brought back from the original days of Medarot 3. Not a lot of folks really know of what she could do that have been in the series for a while, but it is still a very unique choice to come back and join the realm with her original kit intact, no less, compared to how she performed in the early days. Mirror Guard on the head part is a defense skill that, once applied, will set Honeyforce on the center line to intercept any incoming enemy attacks. However, she comes with a little bit of a caveat and a perk when doing this. She will reflect any incoming shooting skills back to sender at half of the originally intended damage from the enemy. So this means if she catches anyone using something as simple as rifle, all the way on up to the devastating power of Burn Blast, she's going to return it back to sender and say no sir, and send it back with half the intended damage to really make her mark last. However, as a defense skill and as a non-meta change note, it is also worth noting that Honeyforce having a defense skill on the head puts her in a very dangerous situation, as anyone that uses, say, Destroy or Deathlock or Slip or something of the like can very easily cancel, if not outright KO her instantly the second she tries to play this card while she's on the line. Slip on the right arm is a shooting skill that has a very unique perk to it, and it's the fact that if you're able to successfully outrun a target to the center line, much in the same sense that you might with, say, Virus or Bug, Slip instead will also automatically cancel the enemy's incoming action if you catch them in their heating phase, and immediately have them begin their cooldown phase right where you catch them. So very similarly to Virus or Bug, like I said, she does have a hand in turn skipping to a point, but she does kind of require the caveat of being able to successfully outrun them. However, Slip also has an extra perk on top of the ability to possibly turn skip, and that's the ability to cancel a lot of, if not all of, most basic guard actions in the game. This even includes a lot of high-end ones, such as, say, Perfect Guard to a lot of degree too. Even if it doesn't mean they don't take any damage, Slip has been able to consistently cancel their actions and force them to begin their cooldown if it's intercepted by a shield. Charge Drain on the left arm is a melee skill that deals a lot of conventionally based basic damage, but it also has a very unique caveat in the sense that it will also steal an amount of charge relative to the part rank when attacking the target. I believe up to about 15% or so when fully capped. So this not only means that with her basic kit of Mirror Guard, Slip, and Charge Drain, Honeyforce has a very unique set of parts that allow her to fulfill a lot of very versatile roles in a lot of very strange niches. She can possibly cancel a lot of guards or even catch people on turn skip if she's quick enough. She can reflect incoming shooting attacks, but also, only the most as far as versatility is concerned, Charge Drain also allows her to stall a lot of incoming enemy charge sustainers. So this includes anyone that tries to use full charge, laser, hyper beam, beam sword, ghost shot, anything that requires a charge gauge to use for a lot of damage modifiers or even charge in general to use. This allows her to possibly not only bank and bulk a lot of their movements, but also fill her own charge gauge in the process, which allows her to possibly use her own Metaforce sooner if used correctly. Biped Legs means that Honeyforce will have fairly solid coverage across all terrains with a fairly well-rounded versatility with terrain compatibility. And her stats across the board are kind of middling, I would say, essentially in a lot of par for the course places that you'd expect an event reward like her to be at. A base mobility of 772 is kind of in that lower end sweet spot that you want Biped Legs to sit at. So even though she will need a lot of boost from, say, terrain compatibility and Medarot bonus, her base speed is still not too shabby as far as Biped Legs go. An evade of 972 isn't too bad either, as this means she can dodge her grades essentially as she pleases, but it's not going to be a super consistent rate given that she's not over 1,000 in that particular stat. A melee and a shoot resist of 854, though, means that she is going to be kind of light on the armor. So this means that she is going to be taking a pretty high amount of damage, incoming damage from both shooting and melee attacks, and a little bit of caution is going to be advised when planning to use Honeyforce. However, she does make up for it just a little bit in the armor department with a head armor of just shy of 3,300, arms at 3,119 apiece, and legs at just over 3,200, so kind of expected to where female bots like her tend to want to sit, but that also does not tie in All-Rounder when that does officially synergize. All-Rounder simply will buff her evade and mobility if all equipped skills are different, so this means they have to be defense, shooting, support, melee, setup, whatever the case may be. As long as they're all 3 different skills, she gets a speed bonus. And would you look at that, she's packing a defense, a shooting, and a melee skill, which allows her to automatically activate All-Rounder. So this will kind of tie back in and kind of make her just a little bit faster than what the numbers here will actually dictate. All this being said, though, as a pure set score, I honestly have to rate Honeyforce kind of a middle-of-the-road 5.5 out of 10. She's not terrible in what she brings to the team, and like I said, she covers a lot of very unique niches, alongside having coverage against reflecting shooting skills, having slip to be able to cancel possible enemy guards, having charge strain to stall any CG sustain, and all around her does synergize back with her kit, like I said, to give her a little bit more of a speed boost than the numbers here read. However, it is also worth noting that she is pretty bad with that resist stat, though, so you are going to want to make sure she stays protected at basically all times. Her armor is kind of par for the course, like I said, so she is pretty easy to crunch if someone does manage to successfully outrun and gun her down. But, like I said, she does synergize fairly well, and the niches that she does cover them fairly well, especially with the ability of Slip having a heating and cooling over 700. As mixed parts, though, I do have to rate her just a little bit higher at a 6 out of 10 for these same reasons. While she's not really anything new or overly impressive or even game-breaking in a lot of cases, like I said, the niches that she does cover, you can either mix up the parts to really milk some mileage out of her, or if you have to use her as a pure set, just make sure that you keep her covered and protected by any allied defenders, because any good hit that does land is going to be pretty painful for the poor ladybug type.